live from New York. No, we are in Laguna Woods, and it's the Laguna Woods Show with your host and moderator, Esther Grossfield. Here's Esther.
Hi, welcome to the Laguna Woods Show, where every guest matters. Today we have a very special guest. He's a director, producer, writer, and a personal friend of mine. And his name is Doran. Hi, Phil.
How you doing? Thank you very much, Esther, for inviting me to your show. You're certainly becoming the Diane Sawyer of Laguna Woods Village.
Oh, my God.
We're all very proud of you.
Thank you, thank you. So you've been in the entertainment industry for a long time.
I would say so. I was trying to figure out the whole beginning of it, and
Yeah.
you know, it's funny. Sometimes you do things you don't understand how they play out in terms of a pattern. And I think when I look back at high school, college, I was always involved in writing. I was on the school newspaper. I was on the campus literary magazine. I wrote sketches for groups I was in and stuff. And somewhere along the way, in college, I decided I was going to be a writer. And I was the first grandchild to go to college, so you can imagine my parents' delight when I said I'm going to become a writer. They went completely nuts. What, you could be a CPA, you could be a dentist, what are you doing? And I said, no, I want to be a writer. So my mom said, okay, we'll agree with this, but you have to get your teaching certificate. And I said, okay, I would. But I never did, because I was afraid if I was trying to write and I hit a long unemployed spell, I'd become a teacher. And not that there's anything wrong with being a teacher, but I had ambitions in other directions. So I came out of college. My first writing job was, I was extremely fortunate. I came out of college in '66, and it was Carnaby Street and the Beatles and all kinds of things. The world was changing so rapidly and so dramatically. And I went to this job interview at an ad agency in Chicago, and I had hair down to here and granny glasses, and I was wearing a cantaloupe-colored Edwardian suit. So I walked in and they must have thought, this guy is so weird, he must know what's going on. So they hired me to write for the youth market for their commercials. But they conveniently hid me away when the more conservative clients came over. I was sort of shoved them back. But it was a great experience. I worked there for 2 years. And somewhere along the way, I longed to see if I could write something longer than a minute. And so I had some time off. I went to Los Angeles and looked around.
What year?
This was '67, I would say.
Okay.
And I came to Los Angeles, and it was amazing. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it. I mean, the culture, the weather, the women, I mean, everything was like spectacular. And I got a job at an ad agency there for a little while. Then I got a job with Chuck Barris. That was the first actual TV experience I had. I was hired, I was the associate producer of The Dating Game.
How long did it take you from the time you went to Hollywood to get this show?
I was at an ad agency, and I somehow talked my way into a meeting with Chuck Barris. And I said, I love your shows, and I want to work for you. And we had a good meeting, and he hired me.
Oh, my God.
And you know, essentially what it was the Dating Game, that position is essentially you write the questions for the girls. And you know, the contestants do come in with their own questions, but they're usually not as funny or as, you know, sexy as the ones that actually wind up in the air because somebody rewrites them. And so that was kind of the job, and handling the contestant in the soundproof booth and get her to the thing and wardrobe and makeup and all that kind of stuff. But that was a lot of fun. That show was, we were all young, we were like in our 20s and working long hours and making some good money and having fun. It was great.
So then you did All in the Family?
Well, that took a while to get there. But from Dating Game, I then went to work across the hall at ABC in Vine Street for Joey Bishop. Joey Bishop had a talk show on ABC.
Wow.
It was, yeah, that was an experience. And the thing, I was a talent coordinator, and I actually got to be his monologue writer. I kept slipping him jokes, and he said, oh, no, not bad. No, wait, okay. And after, you know, joke writing is a skill. It's like writing haiku. It's like writing sonnets. It's a craft, and it's a skill. You can certainly get better at it as if you do more of it. And Joey was very exacting. Joey was a sharp comedian. He was a smart comedian. He knew where the jokes were and where the laughs are. And more than enough, my jokes would come back and he'd mark, this punchline is phrased wrong, this word should be here, and that word, I say, yeah, he's right, wow. So I was able to learn from people who really were good how to do that. And so I did that for a couple of years, and and then I think I did the Merv Griffin show. Dinah Shore had a talk show. I worked on that for a while. Along the way, I met this guy that I worked with, and he was he was also a talent coordinator and a writer, and we decided to try to break into the comedy business. And most comedy at that time, and maybe it still is, were written by teams. So we decided to team up. And I remember we went to his apartment and we'd sit at his dining room table and we'd laugh and we'd write it down. And we just had a great time. He said, what could be better than this? You laugh all day and you get paid for it. So from the beginning, we got lucky. People liked our stuff. And from there, we got a job on the Tim Conway Comedy Hour. It was a big full-time variety show on CBS, and that was pretty good. So we did variety shows. We did Tony Orlando and Dawn, and the Smothers Brothers show, not the original one, but another one that they came back. And from there, we were working on Tony Orlando and Dawn, and a guy we had met, we had worked with before, gave us a call, and he says, I'm working for Norman Lear now, and I just can't find anybody to write this stuff. And we know you guys are funny. Can you come over and do a script for us? And oh my God, that's like a dream come true to be asked for people writing variety shows, that kind of thing, to move up to situation comedy. That's a huge jump. So we're still working on the variety show, but we're like writing day and night on the script and these ideas for the scripts. So we come in, we go for our meeting with this guy, this producer, and we arrive at the studio, and we show up, and we say, we're here to meet with Ron Clark. And he says, well, he's been fired. What? We have all this stuff? And it's like, we said, well, we're sorry. Well, she felt kind of bad for us, so she went back in the office, and she said, listen, this guy will see you if you can wait about 20 minutes, a half hour. Okay, so he said, well, sure. Now, this guy was a very big producer, real heavyweight guy. And we come into his office, we finally get in there, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff, and we're performing it and acting it out, and we're dancing our tits off, just trying to make him laugh and everything. And I have to say, he sat there and stared at us like a grave digger. He just stared at us, and it just felt like the words were turning to cotton in our mouth, and we were sweating and everything. So I said, well, he says, you had part of an idea that wasn't bad. We'll put it together with something we have, and we'll make a story out of it. We'll give you the story. So he was giving us the story, which is where you start. Scripts are written in steps. There's story, first draft, second draft, polish, and the writer can literally be cut off at any one of those steps. The trick is get all the way to polish, so you get the full credit, and you get the residual, and you get the whole thing. So we start working on the story, and we're working on the variety show at the same time, and we're writing the script. So finally we finish it, and we turn it in, and they needed it. Basically, we would have kept working on it for a month. So we turn it in, we're like walking around, and get a call. They say they love the script, they like it a lot, they're going to shoot it in 2 weeks. Please come to the taping. Well, this is just great, So we arrive at the taping, and we arrived with entourages. I mean, friends, neighbors, wives, ex-wives, lovers, drug dealers, everybody we knew. We had like 80 people in the audience, So we're sitting there, and the show it was a Norman Lear show. It was called the Hotel Baltimore. It was a short-lived but well-respected show that was quite good. It was based on a Lanford Wilson play of the same name. So Norman Lear himself comes out to do the warm-up. And we're sitting there, and Norman is just talking, and he is so charming. When he talks, the birds fall out of the trees. He's like amazing. So he says, tonight in the audience, two of the young guys who wrote this script are here, and we'd have nothing without the script because they did a terrific job. Doug and Phil Sanapateka, and we're standing up, and the audience is applauding, and I'm thinking, I could die right here because life is never going to get better than this moment. This is completely the best. So Norman leaves, and they light up the cameras, and the actors come out, and the play starts. And I'm watching it, and Doug's watching it. I'm thinking, did we write that line? Was that in our script? Did we come the right week? Are we sure this is what? So what we didn't know, and what you couldn't know, is the business of show business comedy is so intensively rewritten over and over and over and over that the chances of what you write in the first draft actually appearing are maybe 10%, you know. But the point of the fact that you got the script there, and it was okay, and it was good enough to be worked on, and the structure was right, and the characters sounded something like the characters, was tremendous. Was a tremendous win to get a freelance script from people who weren't on staff for you. So after it's over, we go down and talk to the actors and say, that was a great script. And the producer said, we're having you back for a couple more scripts. And I said, I don't recognize a single word in that script. I said, I felt like we fell down the rabbit hole here. This makes no sense whatsoever. But as I said, this is how the business works. And you can't know it from the outside. You can only know it from once you're inside of it. But it was a crazy adventure.
And then from there, you went to other shows?
Yeah. We did a Bob Newhart show. We did, let's see, I'm trying to get in the sequence. Anyway, they offered us All in the Family from that Hotel Baltimore script, essentially. And they actually offered us the pilot of One Day at a Time. And we said to Norman, this show's never going to make it. So,
oh my God.
That's how much we knew.
Oh my God.
So we did All in the Family for 2.5 years. And that was both the greatest and the most amazing and the hardest and the most difficult. And it was all of that. It was, the problem was the show was #1 wire to wire the whole time. No one even came close. But what you were competing with the best shows you've ever done. So the worst thing the one thing we all dreaded was for the critics or fans to say, the show used to be great, but now I don't know, it's this and that.
Yes,
so
yes.
and this was we were on the show in his 7th and 8th years. So all the low-hanging fruit had been picked. All the good, obvious stories had been picked. So we really...
That's difficult.
It is difficult. It is a struggle to find stories that are organic to the character,
yes.
that mean something, that aren't like some writers, making up some kind of crazy stuff just to have a script. And it was a very successful season when we were there. And out of it, we wrote a pilot called Carter Country, and that show got on the air on ABC, and that was on for 2 years. And we produced that. And after that, we sort of did episodes. And we did Sanford and Son for a while.
Ooh, I like to watch Sanford.
I have to tell you, Sanford and Son was great. I mean, what went on backstage was far more dramatic than whatever went on stage.
Really?
Red Fox lived a life like you can't believe. I mean, this guy is legend. I mean, he worked every dive, every dump, every toilet in the Chitlin circuit for years and years, and nothing rattled him. And he had people after him for money. He had a Korean ex-wife who kept trying to jump out of that thing with a knife and kill him. I mean,
my God.
The Ku Klux Klan burned down his house. I mean, things happened in that show that were like absolutely amazing. But
that it wasn't even in the show.
Not even in the script. You couldn't even put. That was the sad thing about it.
Wow.
I said, we're filming the wrong stuff. Turn the camera over here.
It's real life.
It's real life, yeah. But he was great. He was fun. They called me Left Field. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I worked for him there 2 years. He never knew my name. Hey, Left Field, come over here. What's this joke to me? Come here. I don't know. But that's what he did. He was great. He was bigger than life character. So from there, let's see. What had happened sadly was that my partner passed away. He passed away from AIDS in '87. We were on Facts of Life at the time, and we were producing the show. And I was so used to working with him.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked for him 15, 16 years, and we had a really good run.
Yeah.
I mean, Doug is hysterically funny. He was just, I mean, he'd walk in a room and everybody laughs and just, lights up the room. But I'm so used to producing with them and making decisions and what do you think and what do you think, that suddenly I was alone.
Yeah.
And it's like feeling like your arm has been cut off. Something happened, what do you think we should do here? And I'd look over and there was nobody there. Well, let's see. So it was hard. I had to really grow. And part of the problem too, when you're in a writing team, and for whatever reason a team breaks up, either they can't stand each other anymore or somebody decides they don't want to do something else or whatever, you go on the market as a single. And the producers who are looking to buy you, even if they know you, they don't really know what went on inside that room with you two. Who was really the funny one? Yeah. Who was really the one who was providing the most material? Yeah. Who was asleep on the couch or reading the sports page, Yeah. So I was able to maintain my career pretty much through that.
By yourself?
By myself, yeah. So.
How long did you do it by yourself?
Well, I did Who's the Boss, Too
From
Close for Comfort.
1987?
Wait, see, that was later on. I can't possibly put them in chronological
So you
order,
were
'cause I can remember where
a few years
yeah,
by yourself.
I think I had it there 10 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
by yourself.
Yeah, by myself. And
Wow.
yeah, I was again, I was very fortunate. I've been fortunate all along the way, I have to say. I've been unnaturally lucky in things in my life. I really have. I've been worked for great people, talented people who are very kind and generous with their time and their information and that. And it's why I try to help people read scripts. I teach a script writing class in the village. I did for a couple of years, and just in some small way to give back to all the people who've been kind to me.
So when you were in Hollywood,
Yeah.
did you go to any parties,
Oh,
wild
sure.
parties?
Well, isn't that the point? Yeah, I was nominated for an Emmy, so I went to the Emmys.
Oh
and
my
that was pretty
God! Oh my
glittering.
God!
Won a Humanitas Award, went to the Humanitas Award banquets, and we did all the banquet circuits. The funniest thing we did back when Doug was still alive is he was he was very involved in the AIDS Project Los Angeles, and they were having this big telethon, and it was being hosted by Elizabeth Taylor, and we volunteered to write the program. Well, this was amazing because this program turned out to be this huge, enormous thing that was like 2.5 hours long with every huge star you could ever think of in your life.
Oh my God.
And so we're working on it. We're writing introductions, we're writing material, working with the special material people about music and stuff. And it's getting kind of close, and we have not heard anything from Elizabeth Taylor. So I said, well, you know, we really need to talk to her. We want to talk to her, of course, but we really need to talk to her. We got a lot of material to go over here. So, oh, don't worry, Liz will be here any time now. So they keep pushing us off, and it's getting closer and closer. We're like a day and a half away, and we're like saying, honest to God, where's this woman? We got to talk to her. This is crazy. So she shows up the day of the shoot, okay? And it's the funniest thing in the world. She comes walking in. She's this little tiny Jewish woman in 5-inch spikes, and with hair out to here, and she's surrounded by an entourage. She's holding poodles. She's got handlers, masseurs, agents, managers all around her, kissing her literally, and telling her how wonderful she is and stuff. And she walked by drinking champagne. It's like a joke. And I sort of try to reach into the crowd and say, Ms. Taylor, excuse me, we're your writers. We have to talk to you. And she goes right in the lid.
She just went by?
Went by. So by the meantime, we've got a stack of cards this high.
Yeah.
Right? So we finally are able to get into a dressing room right before the show starts. And we say, okay, then you introduce Robert Wagner, then this one, and then the Smothers Brothers come on, and then this one comes on, and you got to just say, oh, wonderful, darling, wonderful, it's wonderful. She's shuffling through the cards, and Liza Minnelli comes in after your song, wonderful. So she goes out, and she's staggering, and she's dropping cards as she goes. And I'm thinking, this is going to be an unalloyed disaster. It really is. We're going to never be able to work in this town again. It's going to be so terrible. Well, to be honest with you, everybody loved Elizabeth Taylor so much. It kind of didn't matter what we did or what she said. The evening was fabulous, and it was the evening that Rock Hudson read the telegram from his deathbed and everything, so it was extremely dramatic. And that, so it was part of
She was with him? I think she was...
Well, they were great friends. They were
yeah,
great
she was
friends,
very
yeah.
good friends, and she was supporting him. And,
Yeah.
with his...
It was sad.
yeah.
Yeah, but well, Hollywood, there's always parties. You know, that's the whole life. Oh, and out of this thing, that's a funny thing. Out of this thing, about a week later, we're in our office, and the secretary comes in, and she's got a funny look on her face. She says, "What?" She says, "Robert Wagner wants to talk to you."
To you?
Yeah, to me. Really? So I'm going, hello. Hi, this is RJ. How you doing? Great, great. He says, you know, I ran into Liz Taylor a couple weeks ago, and I said, Liz, you were so fabulous at the APLA thing. I never saw anything like it. He said, it's not me, honey. I've got these 2 writers. They're great. And this is one. She didn't read any of our cards or any of our stuff, but she gave us all the credit. So then we started writing stuff for Robert Wagner. You know, there's a circle of people in Hollywood that just go around getting awards and giving awards. So they always need speeches, and they always need jokes, and they always need material and stuff like that.
So did you write speeches too?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Oh my
yeah.
God!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was a really nice guy, very good guy. Went out to his ranch and everything. It was really fun.
Really? Did you get to know him a little bit?
Well, as much as you can know, a star. They're generally very guarded. They're used to, don't forget Robert Wagner had a lot of bad publicity.
Yes.
And he was
Because
very
of his
careful
wife.
about,
because of what happened. Yeah.
well, because of what he may or may not have done.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was good.
So then you came to Laguna Woods.
I came to Laguna Woods Village. I wrote
What
a book.
year?
I wrote a book between then. I wrote a book called The Reluctant Tuscan, which is about how my late wife and she dragged me into paradise, be kicking and screaming, and I somehow learned to love it. And came to L.A. Let's see. I think we moved back to. My wife's mom lived here. She moved here in the 80s.
Yeah.
So she had been here 20 years by the time we moved in. We came in right after the millennium, I think, and we rented a couple places and we bought a place and that. And at first I was like, it's so crazy. I'm 56 years old, and everybody I see is like, old. What am I doing here? And a couple of months later, I was looking at the Globe, and they said, if you're between 65 and 75, come join us. If you're between 55 and 65, excuse me, come join us. Let's meet. So I show up at at the clubhouse, and there's 450 people there. And the thing is, there are younger people, but the place is so big you can't find each other.
Yes.
So that was the founding of Rock and Rollers.
Oh.
That's how that started.
Oh.
And so I love living here. I mean, it's just really great. I mean, the opportunities. It's summer camp for the elderly. It really is. And if you're bored, it's your fault because there's so much to do. And if you can't find a club that suits you, start one.
But you couldn't get away from the entertainment.
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, I think I was hankering to do something, and then I discovered the video club.
Yes.
I just walked in there and I said, "There's a whole film studio here and a whole editing bay. I mean, it's really beautiful equipment, and like Orson Welles said, a movie studio is just about the best gift you could ever give a little kid." So they said, "Well, let's do a TV show. Let's do a sitcom let's do a comedy about the village." So a lot of people want to do a sitcom, but a sitcom, truthfully, is really hard.
Very
you need
difficult.
experienced writers. You need directors. I mean, it's a very specific skill set. That'd be hard to find in people who had spent years and years in that thing, and you need a big staff.
So what was your first project here?
Well, I think it was I had the idea to do the dating game here for the elderly.
Never too late.
Yeah, never too late to date.
Yeah.
Because I knew how the game worked, and I thought
Yes.
this is an easy thing to do because it's a template. We just bring in the contestants. If we have good contestants and good questions, the show will be good. Mm-hmm. It's hard to mess it up if you can get those two things right. And the funny thing is, having worked on the original show, the contestants are in their 20s, maybe
Yes.
30.
Yeah.
When you're at that age, you're kind of wary about how people perceive you. Do they like me? I said, when you get to be our age, you don't care. You don't give a damn. You don't like what I said, you're out of the will. That's how we operate. And like people here, they don't have any filters. Whatever they think, it's out their mouth. So it's hysterical.
So how many people work in your show?
On the show, I think that we have a core of about maybe 12, 14. It varies. They're all volunteers, so you never
Yes.
quite know who's going to
Yes,
show up
yes.
and not. But the guys here at Channel 6 has been great. Paul and the guys and Ken and all the Kens here, they've been really great and supportive. We did part of the show here. We looked at doing the show here, and I love this facility, but they're so busy here, it's hard to get in. I like to get in the studio and just stay there, like the Phantom of the Opera, and never go home, and then they keep kicking me out of here because they're so busy.
Did anything go wrong while you did the show?
Oh yeah, I mean,
a lot of things, huh?
we had a thing like we're ready to shoot, and the contestants said, "Wait, I forgot my hearing aids. I got to go home." All right, okay. So then another time a lady said she was about, again, we were about to go on, or I think we we're between a break or a commercial. She says, how much longer is this going to go on? Because I took a stool softener.
No.
Is that okay? No, it's not okay. We wish you hadn't done that. It's funny.
So how long was she on the show before she
She was
decided?
able to get through it okay. I didn't ask too many questions about that, but
That's funny.
we all survived.
So when is it going to air?
Well, we just shot 2 episodes. One called "Never Too Late to Date." It was in where the contestants were all 90 years old.
Oh,
Nearly-
wow.
Yeah, those people are
Men
shocked.
and women?
Men and women. Those
90
women,
and over?
90 and over. Yeah, they were
Wow.
very sharp and
Wow.
horny.
Oh, my
You'd be
God.
surprised. You really would be surprised. And then the other show we did our first Never Too Late to Know Your Mate, which is the newlywed game, or the oldywed game, with 3 married couples.
So the people that you did Never Too Late to Date, do they still date? I mean,
So far, nothing has really sparked. You know, it's hard to pick a person behind a wall and then have it say, "Oh, this is the one I've been dreaming about." So, you know, but
so are they going to a restaurant or something?
yeah,
So
they go
you
to
did the
dinner and they have
restaurant
a
thing?
first date. We filmed the first dates of the first show, but then it got kind of cumbersome to do it, so we didn't do it for the
Oh,
second show.
so you didn't do that.
But we may go back to it. It was fun.
So your next show is Never Too Late to Know Your Mate?
Well, those have been shot. We're in the process of editing and putting them together in a 1 hour show. Two games in a 1 hour show. I don't know if Paul
That's
knew that
good.
or not. He's like looking at me. We are?
Wow, you know, it was so nice having you
Well,
here.
it was my pleasure
It was
entirely.
so nice. Now we know more about
Now you know
you. You did
everything
so
you want to
many
know.
things in Hollywood. Oh my God.
Well, great.
So
Thank
nice
you.
to have you here.
Pleasure.
Thank you for watching, and next time we will have another interesting person. Bye.